After a Michigan judge was heavily criticized for placing a 15-year-old girl into a juvenile facility for not doing her homework during quarantine, the general public became very outraged. Now, thanks to the many people voicing their concerns about the injustice in this case, Grace has finally been released to her mother, and we have everything you need to know. Welcome to Inform Overload. I'm your host Johnny Rogers in the Bacon Overlord, and you're watching the #1 tea-spilling entertainment news show on the internet. First and foremost though, before we kick this video off, let us know down below if you've ever been grounded and tell us why. Also, if you don't want to miss another daily video from us, make sure you tap that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Plus, make sure you stay all the way until the end of this video because I'm going to be reading out some of your comments as well. Now, without any further delay, let's get right into today's story. Many of the advocates that were protesting for the judge to release Grace were saying that because this summer has been an uprising for the Black Lives Matter movement, it's allowed people to open their eyes when it comes to explaining the school-to-prison pipeline. For those of you who don't know what this is, allow me to explain. The school-to-prison pipeline is a way to describe the disproportionate tendency of minors and young adults from disadvantaged backgrounds to become incarcerated. Due to increasingly harsh school and municipal policies such as ones placed on Grace, many black and brown students aren't allowed to mess up even once. In the white communities and school districts, there are steps that can be taken to deal with a child that has ADHD or just overall isn't performing in school. However, for these more disadvantaged communities, they feel the full force of the law instead, which, as history can tell you, leads to more and more people of color going directly from school to prison. When the spread of the coronavirus became an imminent threat, every school was ordered to close and shift suddenly to online learning. Not only was this a difficult adjustment for the teachers, it was really tough on kids with learning disabilities. Grace in particular has ADHD and felt unmotivated and overwhelmed when online learning began on April 15th. With barely any live instruction or structure, it was easy for her to get distracted and therefore made it difficult to keep herself on track. Grace is also from a single-parent household, and when the pair got into an altercation, the only option that her mother felt like she had was to call the police. However, even when the police arrived, they didn't offer the multiple social services that were available in the area. Instead, they just charged a 15-year-old girl with a So when she had her day in court for this, the judge placed a zero tolerance for not completing her schoolwork. Despite every other kid in her class also struggling, Grace now had to worry about going to jail if she didn't finish her homework, and all because the judge had deemed her a threat to the community. Yes, a 15-year-old girl who got into a fight with her mother is suddenly a threat to the community because she didn't finish her homework. The Michigan Liberation, which is a non-profit that helps incarcerated people, has been working diligently on behalf of Grace and her mother to organize rallies. In a statement to the press, they said, "It's sad, but Grace's story, this is not an outlier. This is something that happens all the time, every day to our youth, black and brown, in these communities." Adding, Grace's family is arguing and the community is arguing that failure to do homework should never be a condition of incarceration. It should never be a condition of probation. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the judge believed that Grace was a threat to her mother and the community, so she used that as her reasoning for not releasing Grace. That being said, Grace and her mother have attended counseling together to work on their relationship, and since then, Grace has not been violent with her at all. That's the core issue here, is that some families think that there is no one else to call except for the police, and so their kids end up with these criminal backgrounds. Grace's own teacher wrote in an email to her caseworker that her behavior was not out of alignment with most of the other students, meaning that because some of the teachers were having difficulty with the online process, a ton of kids were not doing their homework. After all of the pressure put on by the school, her teacher, her mother, and fellow classmates, the Michigan Court of Appeals ordered the girls released from Children's Village, which sounds like a nice place, right? Children's Village. But in reality, it's a juvenile detention facility. This comes after powerful people such as Hillary Clinton began tweeting. Shortly after the news broke, Hillary tweeted, "Let her go." So combined with the pressure plus that of her lawyers, the judge really had her hands tied. Her lawyers argued in their motion that their client's adjustment to online classes during the pandemic was similar to other students and therefore shouldn't constitute a probation violation, especially given that administrators, kids, and parents alike are all navigating what will certainly be remembered as unprecedented and uncharted territory. However, instead of assessing the full context of Grace's situation and attempting to take less extreme measures, they handcuffed a 15-year-old high school sophomore. For now, Grace will remain on probation and will have to go back to court for another hearing, but her lawyers are doubting that she will be sent back to Children's Village. Hopefully now, with a legal team helping assist Grace and her mother to find other resources for counseling, they won't ever have to go through this traumatic experience again. Although this case is just a small example of the work that still needs to be done in the judicial system. For a judge to take such a callous approach to this case, it really shines a light on how desperately we need to change. Birmingham's Board of Education passed a resolution to review the matter as well, and reiterated their deep belief that no harm should come to its students as a result of the sudden shift to online learning. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 Actors That Almost Didn't Get the Part. Jude Melrose says, Jon Hamm would make a good James Bond. He definitely would have made a great James Bond, but then again, he probably wouldn't have been able to do Mad Men, which he was also great in, so I don't know, it's a bit of a toss-up. Let me know down below if you'd rather see Jon Hamm in Mad Men or James Bond. I'm interested to see. Director G says, Taron Egerton was just amazing in Rocket Man, beautiful voice. Yeah, he absolutely rocked in that movie. I feel like I could watch it again and again and again. I even go back and listen to the soundtrack on Spotify before I listen to Elton John, so that says something about his voice. Dixie Ray says, I don't have a favorite actor, Johnny, but you are definitely my favorite host. Aw. You have an amazing, genuine energy that I love, and I always smile when I click on and see you here. Keep on doing what you do and stay well and healthy. Big hugs. Aw, thank you so much, Dixie. That was very sweet of you, and thanks for being here in the comment section. It's nice to see positive comments every now and again. Oh, here comes a negative one. Harmanpreet Singh says, Johnny is my least favorite anchor. And yet here I am, holding it down. Michelle Womack says, I love IO for its news and gossip. Oh, you know we got tons of that. We're spilling tea every day here. I gotta get new jeans because we spilled so much tea. But I appreciate you being a fan. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our editing team for all of their hard work. If you enjoyed this video, then please show some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on today's story. And for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is tap that playlist when it pops up. From Inform Overload, my name is the Bacon Overlord, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy.